I keep a separate mum drawer in the fridge labelled hot sauce and kale.
Yes.
It's actually filled with chocolate and mini Prosecco's.
I knew she'd say that.
Have you got one of these?
No, but I've been known to keep chocolate in a tampon box. Can I get the girl to leave the door open? And one of the other girls comes out and goes, what the fuck are you doing? Could hear me from the girls' room. They're like, what are you... Hang up. Hang up. And I was like, why? What do you mean? And they go, he's wanking. He's never coming in. Can we be real, Bagsy?
Michelle Laurie, how are you?
Just done a bit of a...
Mate, the hair's looking great. It's been looking great for weeks.
Thank you.
Hasn't it?
Weeks and weeks and weeks.
Weeks and weeks and weeks.
All my own hair, which I'm very proud of. You all know it's been a journey of wigs and hair extensions, and I've finally got a head full of my own hair again, and I'm very pleased about it.
You've really got to think into the future when you're shaving that head or getting a shorter haircut, don't you? Because it has been a 2-year journey to get this back.
It's been a long journey. Jeff, my hairdresser, says your hair grows about 15 centimetres a year.
Okay.
So think about it that way. That's like, you know.
Yeah.
It was shaved at the sides.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
only after I'd done it did I remember, oh, that's right, my hair's not actually blonde. So it's going to come out brown at the sides and it's hideous.
Well, and you and Em Rosciano had the same hair at the same time. Remember that?
No, I don't.
You both had the short hair and now you've both grown your hair out. It's
I
almost
was
like,
not aware
I
of
wonder
that.
whoose watching who.
I wonder. I've no comment.
Just a little observation that I made.
Don't think I
You
do.
both seem to be on the same trajectory of short hair, long hair.
I think shut up. I think every woman is. I don't think either of us is watching the other at all.
Okay.
Anyway, I certainly know I'm not. But anyway. Anyway, here is an interesting story about, look, this is so weird and I love it. There's got to be a documentary made about this. Somebody is ringing hairdressers around Australia and New Zealand
Right.
saying their name is Christine and they need to make an appointment for their 2 daughters.
Right.
Now, this to me, I immediately get this because of my experience as a brothel receptionist. I'm like, okay.
Well, explain it to me. What's going on here?
Well, what's been discovered, Stuff magazine in New Zealand broke this story. And then since then, so many other hairdressers have gone, you're fucking joking. I thought that was just us. This creepy sounding person who's probably obviously a man rings up and goes, hello, my name's Christine and I need to book a haircut for my 2 daughters. And then goes into all this... Yeah, here we go. One of the hairdressers described the caller's voice as sounding like Agnes from Mrs. Brown's Boys, who was actually a man. So that's the sound, right? And then with an Australian accent and saying, I have 2 lesbian daughters who've been very, very naughty and they need their heads shaved as punishment. Could you do that? How much would you charge? How long would it take? And wanking.
Ah.
The theory is...
Okay, I didn't see that coming.
Oh, are you joking?
Yeah, right.
Why else? So this is what I mean. This is just my experience telling me, and I'm reading thinking, okay, well, this bloke's wanking. And sure enough, we get, and some lady goes, and then Christine started heavy breathing, and I think she might have been pleasuring herself. I'm like, of course she was. Why else? And so, yeah, it turns out that New Zealand and Australian salons, they're from all over the 2 countries, have piped up and gone, yes, this person rings my salon all the time.
Right, okay.
Who is Christine? We need a documentary about this.
Yeah.
We need to find out who this person is. I would have thought, because I worked
What a weird thing to do and what a weird kink.
in brothels in Melbourne, and because I ended up working at a few brothels, and so I know that there was this person, and there's a couple of them, but the one I remember most was a person who'd say, oh, yeah, g'day. Look, I'm thinking of coming in tonight. If I do, can I get the girl to leave the door open in our room during the booking? And I go, yeah, that's fine, whatever. If it's all right with her, it's up to her. And right, and where's your desk? Like, would you be able to see in? And I'd go, and
So what would you say? Yeah.
well, the first time I'm a young new receptionist, I'm just like trying to be polite and like, I go, no, actually, well, it depends on what room you're in, because like, you know, I can see in this room from here, but the others are upstairs, and like, I'm just taking it so seriously. And one of the other girls comes out and goes, what the fuck are you doing? Could hear me from the girls' room. They're like, what are you? hang up, hang up. And I was like, why? What do you mean? And they go, he's wanking. He's never coming in. They said, look, we can hear everything you're saying and it's just, someone's wanking. Because you're going, yeah, maybe I could see you. And what? Oh, yeah, I think they do that. And I think they do this. No, I can't do it. No, I can't come into the room with you. No, I can't. I'm just taking it so seriously. And they're like, hang up, idiot. So then I realised that person rang a lot. And then I would go and work in another brothel. He'd ring there.
It was like a serial caller. Okay, right.
They're just wanking. It's just the call. That's the thrill. And obviously it's the same with this creepy Christine. What is the fantasy? Hello, I have 2 lesbian daughters who've been very naughty. And they both need to have their heads shaved. What? Men are creeps. I'm telling you, like, what is...
Well, this man's a creep, yeah.
There's a lot of them out there, babes.
Are there?
Yeah, there was another one who used to come in and they used to have to... he did come in, but they used to have to tie his balls up with pantyhose and then spit on them and kick them. And that was real. He used to come in for that. And he'd try and get me to come in and watch. And I'd be like, no. The girls would go, she's not going to do it, I'm telling you. She doesn't want to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I sort of prefer that. At least he came in and spent some money.
You prefer that?
Totally, to the wankers on the phone. I prefer a bloke who'll come in, part with his cash, actually get a booking done, than be on the phone to me going, what about...
Shaving the head. Wow.
God, how weird. So, yeah, prank phone calls.
Did you ever do prank calls?
I'm sure we did, because remember when I was a kid, there's one phone in the house, like, that no one can track your number.
Yeah.
Like now we all see who's calling us usually, you know, and so back then you could ring the whatever pizza shop and
order 50 pizzas.
Just be a dickhead, you know, whatever. Or ring other kids, ring people we knew, ring, you know, teachers. Because remember, that's the other thing. I was watching a movie the other night and the lady, I think she was a police lady, and she pulls out the phone book and I'm like, fuck. Remember when everyone's name, address and phone number was in a book that we all had at our house? So anyone, a teacher, a kid at school, a neighbour, anyone you wanted to fuck with, you could just find them in this big book.
Totally.
And ring them.
Yeah.
And give them shit or... Isn't that bizarre? Like now... In some ways, it's like,
well, no,
it's
even worse now because we got social media, so you can just directly contact people. Even it's easier, and you actually know the person that you're going for. Because remember when you go through the phone book and there'll be all these last names.
Yeah, there's heaps of Mrs. Joneses.
Right, and you got to go fuck, and you have to ring. Oh, no, okay, it's not you. Okay, it's not
my
you.
Geography teacher.
Yeah,
yeah. Wow, God, it's so weird. But I'll never forget ringing. We finally found this boy's number that we liked, my girlfriends and I, you know, and he had kind of a distinctive last name, but there were a few of them. So we're ringing a few houses going, hi, can we speak to Richard, please? Hi. And they're going, no, Richard here. And all that and getting the shits with us. And we're not trying to prank him. We just want to say, hi, do you want to come to the park? Or whatever. And we finally get on, oh, hi, it's Richard home. And his dad answered. He goes, well, he's here, ladies, but he's on the throne. Can you imagine your dad? Your dad telling these girls who've rung up, we're like 12, that you're doing a shit. Well, he's here, ladies.
Did you know what the throne was?
It took us a minute, but he's on the throne. And we went, like we're both holding a phone between us going, he's what? Sorry? I said he's on the throne. He's in the can. And I think he's going to be a while. We were like, oh, my God. Okay, we'll call back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prank calls. Well, they could do a bloody Netflix doco on this person. Christine. We've
got to find out. Have you ever seen the docos? There is a great guy, a New Zealand guy who does great documentaries. They're Louis Theroux style, but he's he did Tickled. Remember that documentary Tickled? Oh my God, have you never seen Tickled?
No. What happens in Tickled?
Girl, I'm going to send you a link. It's so great. And he's the one. I'm going to email him. I'm going to say, mate, you've got to find Christine. He's brilliant. Let's do that.
Is that up his alley?
Yes.
It's right up his alley?
Tickled is about... a sort of a cult that gets young men in to make tickle videos. This is his go. He's brilliant.
What, tickling each other?
Yeah, but it turns out to be much darker than that. Like young men think, okay, yeah, you can tickle me for $50 for a video. And then
I wouldn't, if someone threw that proposal at me, I wouldn't give the response of, yeah, $50? I'd be thinking, fuck no, I've got other things to do with my day.
It's a wacky world out there. I mean, this is what I'm saying. When you think
Well, we can't yuck other people's yum.
Right, except don't ring me when I'm at work and fucking give me the shits about you, Christine, and you've got lesbian daughters. I'm yucking that yum, okay?
Oh,
That's
yeah, you
annoying.
can. Yeah.
But, it's a wacky old world out there. Who's that lovely boy, young guy, very funny, used to work with Hughesy and Kate.
Tim Blackwell.
No, I know who that boy is. No, this really, the handsome, tall, blonde one. What was his name?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, he used to work on their buttons, do the buttons on their show. And then he went overseas, he went to LA. And I'll never forget, for a while, his income, the way he made money, was he worked at a gay club and men drank shots off his body, off his chest.
Wow.
Like he's kind of standing in hot pants at the bar and he'd pour a shot of something down his chest and they'd lick it off. And that was his income. That was his job.
Wow.
It's a wacky world out there,
It is a
mate.
wacky world.
Yeah. So,
Bloody hell.
Tickling wouldn't have sounded, that kid would have said yeah to a tickle for $50 any day. He'd probably say yeah now if we rang him.
For a tickle.
Oh,
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our first secret for today. If you've got one and you want to share it, all you have to do is go to the link in the bio. I keep a separate mum drawer in the fridge labelled hot sauce and kale.
Yes.
It's actually filled with chocolate and mini Prosecco's.
I knew she'd say that.
Have you got one of these?
No, but I've been known to keep chocolate in a tampon box. They'll never look in there.
Right, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, no one touches it because they think it's health food. So
Yes.
great idea there. I think
Great
my grandma used to do that as well. She had her own chocolate stash in her own room.
Cute. Well, my kids would never respect my room. Like if they knew there was chocolate anywhere, they would eat it.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, you got to hide it. I mean, just the other day I bought a block, Milka. I'm classic.
Milka's the greatest.
Yeah, I'm Cadbury glass and a half all the way. But I was in this shop and they had lollies from around the world and they had that Milka that's got the little sweet biscuit on every square.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, I haven't had that in years. I'm going to get that.
Hide it from the kids.
Didn't have time, mate. Had it in the car,
Yeah.
picked up my daughter, jumped out of the car to do something, got back, she'd eaten it. That was okay. She goes, well, I didn't know it was yours. I said, no, I guess I didn't specifically say don't eat that. Okay, so that's the end of that. So yeah, you got to. But remember Matt Tilley we worked with? His wife was so strict. They had a cupboard in their kitchen with a padlock on it, so the kids couldn't eat. Which I totally, at the time I thought, oh my God, loosen up, lady. But now that my kids were very little then, and now I'm like, yeah, I get it. It does shit you when you buy groceries, you buy all this stuff and they just
Smash it.
go through it like locusts in an afternoon and you're like, fuck. And then they're like, there's no food, we got nothing for lunch. So yeah.
There's Cruskets there, guys. Enjoy the Cruskets. That's what Mum used to say to us. Get into the Cruskets.
Yeah, there's noodles.
There's noodles. There's
toast, bread.
We used to get, there's a loaf of bread in there, mate. Make some butter and bread.
Absolutely.
Oh, fucking tough
and
times.
The way they go on is like you're saying, go out and harvest something. So, yeah, I love that.
All right. How do you love it?
I love it. I love having, marking your chocolate health food or try a tampon box. They'll never look.
Yeah, I'd never go near that.
No. In the bathroom.
Good call.
Yep.
All right. The next secret. I pretend to be asleep. Oh, sorry. I pretended to be asleep for a whole 3-hour car trip to Byron Bay so I wouldn't have to talk to my family.
Yeah.
I could hear them whispering, leave her to sleep. She's tired.
Great. Brilliant. Yeah.
You loving it?
I love it. If only I could pretend to be asleep when I'm with my mum going somewhere, but unfortunately I'm driving. So she knows I'm awake.
Although driverless cars soon, mate, you'll be able to sit in that front seat and just
Then I'll be saying, Mum,
roll on. I'm sleeping. Although can the driver in a driverless car sleep?
Well, they say you can't, but I'm willing to.
Because you still need to. You've got some kind of responsibility of like if this thing starts to do its own thing, you got to take over. You got the wheel.
I'm willing to give it a try.
Just sleep the whole way.
Yeah. Also, I'll just sit Mum in the front. She can't drive anymore, but she can monitor.
She can monitor what's going on.
Monitor driving.
I feel like she'd keep waking you up asking you questions though. It's beeping. Like she wouldn't let you sleep.
Oh God, she just will talk and talk and talk and talk.
What is that first day going to be like when we're sitting in a driverless car? Do you think you're going to be, it's going to be weird, and do you think you're going to trust it, or are you going to be sitting in the back going, what the fuck's actually going on here?
Do you remember the first day you drove without someone else in the car?
Yeah.
I mean, even
17.
that's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
you're like, I am in charge of this machine. There's no one else in here.
I remember going onto the highway for the first time, going down the ramp, and you got to get the speed up to 110 to hit the highway.
Yes.
And I remember that for the first time on my own with that, and I can still picture that drive, right now.
I know those exits on the Gold Coast Highway.
Oh, mate.
I mean, because there's not a lot of highways you can do 110 in Australia, but I remember that one very clearly. Look, I think it's going to be very weird to sit in a car and go, okay,
Take me
kneel the car.
to the pub.
Yeah, take me to Aldi.
But then again, I guess it's also like Uber. It probably took us 3 or 4 goes to get the idea of like we're just getting in a stranger's car and driving around, right?
Yeah.
And now no one even thinks about that,
you're
right?
right. Yeah.
So that was 10 years ago.
You're right.
I'm guessing we're going to go through the same thing. It'll probably take us 3 or 4 goes, and then next thing you're just sitting in the back of a car and rolling around.
You bloody love your driverless train here.
I do love it.
That doesn't scare you. I mean, really? That's the same thing. That doesn't scare. I know it's
on
tracks.
It's on tracks, and it's kind of monitored by someone.
Yeah, right. It could still slam into a wall or something, couldn't it, somewhere? I mean,
Yeah, I guess so.
Shit could happen. I suppose I think, what if some bloke gets on there and cuts loose? There's not even a driver to ring the cops or anything. Are there cameras everywhere on the train?
Are you thinking like a John Travolta kind of movie where he takes over
Yeah, I don't know.
with Denzel Washington? Have you seen that? What's that movie called?
I don't know. It's making me think of about six
John
movies.
Travolta. He's bald and he's the
Face
bad
Off?
guy. No, it's not Face. Face Off is one of the great movies.
Yeah, I know. And what you're describing is clearly a great movie, but I can't remember what it's called. But
Denzel Washington's the hero.
of course, yes.
John Travolta is the evil bloke.
Brilliant. We love
Shaved
it when
head.
he goes evil. We love it.
Yeah, he's got a bit of variety, doesn't
What
he,
is
in
it?
his acting?
Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
That's
the
it.
Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, bloody banger.
Have you seen that one?
Yes, I do. I love those kinds of movies. Yeah. I love Con Air. Do you love Con Air?
Fucking love Con Air.
Fucking great movie. Amazing. Yeah, I love those kinds of movies. I know it's unpredictable of me, but I do love them. But I'm worried that someone's going to pull a Con Air on the bloody train with no driver.
do you actually love Con Air?
I do.
Hey,
I love it.
fucking
I
funny.
love Con Air.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm just visualising.
'Cause what's the crazy
Steve
bloke?
Buscemi
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
bloody
yeah.
sandpit with the kit. Amazing. Love it.
Great times.
What if someone pulls the snakes on the plane on your driverless train? I mean, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
There's not even a driver to call the cops.
Oh,
mate. That's what to me, that is the gateway to driverless cars.
What if someone pulls a Passenger 57?
Right?
I mean, there's an old reference.
Okay.
Passenger 57.
Mate.
What about an Air Force One?
What if somebody pulls a bloody flying high?
Oh, mate.
I mean, you're in trouble.
You're going to need Harrison Ford.
Oh, God, you're in trouble.
How he gets back onto that plane, I've got no idea.
Harrison
Oh, no, because he doesn't. That's right. He
What
gets
about
out of the
that one
capsule.
where Tom Cruise jumps from one plane and lands in another plane in midair?
Love it. Yeah. Or what about
that is.
how's it when in The Dark Knight 2,
Okay.
when
Okay.
when Bane, remember Bane?
Yep.
He's in the plane and they tilt the plane up on its side and then they fucking hold onto the rope and then shoot up into the other plane. Mate, I mean, how do they do
What
that?
if that happens on your train and there's no driver?
These are the things we need to think about in the future.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm also saying that your driverless train that you love so much is a gateway to driverless cars, right?
Yeah.
We just gotta hope for the best because all of the above could happen. We've just got to be alert but not alarmed.
Totally. Steve Liebman. I mean,
Yes.
look how many references are in this episode. All right, let's get into our first audio secret.
Growing up, I always wanted to have kids. Always wanted daughters. Ended up having a daughter, followed by a couple of boys. I was so desperate to have another girl, convinced hubby to have another baby. I found out I was having a boy and I just cried. I was suffering from prenatal depression and I was as sick as anything. Delivered my baby and it was just him and I in the hospital. And I looked at him and I was crying and I said, I'm so sorry that you got stuck with me as your mother. You deserve so much better, but I'm going to do the best that I can do to love you as much as I can love you. I have the best relationship with that baby. I have a good relationship with the other kids as well, but that baby, the boy that I didn't want, I absolutely love him to death. When the others were at school, when he was still a kinder, I'd take him for an ice cream or we'd go out for lunch and I'd be like, shh, don't tell the others. This is our little secret. He's always the one that will shower me with hugs and kisses. And even now as a grown-up, he'll still go, I love you, Mum. I know you're not meant to have favourites, but that boy is by far my favourite.
Do you have favourites? Like,
No,
I mean, you got twins, so it's easy.
It changes, you know.
Oh, so that you-
someone's my favourite today, the other one's my favourite tomorrow. So I'm pretty even-handed. I mean, it can change from minute to minute. Who's giving me the shits?
Do you let them know? Hey, you're
not
my
my
favourite
favourite.
today. You're not.
No, but I always tease him that Jacko's my favourite. So, you know, and he is. But as I've said to you before, because he's never lost a single pair of goggles. That is massive when you've got kids. Oh, this is kind of sweet. And also, don't you think he's your favourite just because he's the baby? Like, I think, and again, I have twins, so I don't really have that. But I suspect that if I had another baby, like this, there seems to be something with women about the baby they know is the baby forever. They know they're not going to have another kid. This is my last baby. They always seem to be a bit spoiled. Certainly my brother Petey Poops was, but by everyone, by my mum, by my sister, by me. I think it's just being the baby. Was Nick a bit spoiled at your place?
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah. So I think it's actually quite common for the baby to be the favourite. Petey Poops is all of our favourites. Yeah. Little Petey Poops.
How do you file that one?
Perfectly understandable, I think, and also particularly lovely given that you thought you wanted a girl so badly and you got a boy, but he's your special boy. I love it.
All right, let's get into our next secret.
Over Christmas time, I was lucky enough to have all my kids at home, which is heaven. And the older boys, the adult boys, had their girlfriends at home, which was lovely, nice chicks. Anyway, on one of the nights, probably the first night, I'm thinking that everyone was at home. I was lying in bed with hubby and I was just thinking, oh God, I hope these kids have as good a sex as my husband and I do. And that night we had really, really good sex, which is nice. You know, you just want them to have good sex, don't you? You don't want them to be impotent or, you know, all of those terrible things that could happen to boys. They can't, you know, all of that. But, yeah, it made me feel really good that my kids were having sex in my house.
It's so funny how mums worry about everything or like insert ourselves into every aspect of their life. Like, I mean, you know, you don't want them to be impotent. So I can honestly say I've never... I mean, you've unlocked a new worry, okay? You've unlocked a new fear. Suddenly I'm worried about impotence. I'm worried about lack of sexual satisfaction.
But also, I don't know if you're like, I didn't grow up in a family that was really like, you know, pro-sex in the house with my. I remember bringing home my first girlfriend when I was 18, and we slept in my bed, and I remember there being like this big like, hey, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And I was 18.
Well, also you're the eldest kid, so you're the first kid to bring to potentially have sex in the house, as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, but I don't think.
I don't think any of us.
I don't think my parents would have been like, oh, so happy that
Yeah.
there's sex happening in the house.
As far as I know, none of us had sex in my parents' house
yeah.
ever to this day, as far as I know, but certainly not when we were teenagers or first seeing people. So no, there was even though my parents were pretty open about sex, there was certainly never an encouragement for us to have sex.
Guys, get into it.
Yeah, get stuck in.
It sounds like she's.
Guys, I just hope you have great sex here at home.
She sounds like the mum out of Mean Girls, the cool mum.
She is a cool mum. You're a cool mum. Yeah, you are a cool mum. And you sound lovely and beautiful. And also, I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous you're still having great sex with your husband, the father of these children. Like, you are actually living the dream. So I guess when you're happy, you want other people to be happy. I'm very jealous. God, what can we file this under? I love it. I just love it. Lucky kids, lucky you, lucky hubby. But I don't know. My kids are 15. I haven't thought about whether or not they're going to have sex in my house, let alone how good it's going to be.
Well, so my ex, we were down in Adelaide and the parents had gone out. So we were staying at the parents' house.
Yeah. That's the time to do it.
Well, yeah, they'd gone out, but it was like they must have gone just to the shops or something like that. Right. So we weren't sure. And then we were in the shower and then we started having sex. And then when we came out of the shower, her mum was sitting at the kitchen table.
My God.
And obviously there would have been noise and all that kind of thing going on.
Yes.
But it was so fucking frosty.
So tense.
For about an hour or two after that. Like, because the mum and the daughter weren't talking and it was all weird. And obviously I'm the guest. So I'm like this fucking like.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was a bit weird. But then it eventually like.
Did they talk about
No
it?
one ever talked about it.
Just mum
But
got
we
over it.
knew that the where the bathroom was to where the kitchen was, they would have heard everything. So we just didn't think that they were home. And then
My father overheard us once. We were in Toowoomba and I booked an Airbnb, and he, I think it was a similar situation. It was so hot. It was a similar situation. I think it was bathroom related. Anyway, so I just come swanning out of the bathroom into this house. I was not naked, I was clothed, but I think I was probably laughing or like just having the time of my life. And I looked down and my father's standing at the back door with a box of fruit and veggies. and he had the unmistakable look of a man who'd been very patient, who'd been waiting there with his box of fruit and veggies. Oh my God. And then he was just like, oh, good day. I just, he was nervous and I just kind of thought it was funny. And I thought my husband at the time was going to absolutely die when I told him, which I also found funny.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, hi, Pop, what you doing? Da-da-da. And just, we played it off that way. But yeah, he was wide-eyed, put it that way.
Yeah, of course, with his box of veggies.
His box of fruit and veggies, box of capsicums and lettuce.
All right, well, if you have so how do you file
love
that
it.
secret?
This lady's
sex in the
living-
house,
Yeah.
family sex.
Family sex. Just
Get around
hoping
it.
everyone in the family hoping everyone else is having great sex.
Yeah.
Very sweet family.
All right, if you have a secret you want to share, all you have to do is go to the link in the bio and we'll catch you again tomorrow.